Perhaps the most interesting and the most popular perspective is the symbolic interaction or the interactionist perspective. As the very name shows, this perspective or this theory is about interaction within the society. Symbolic interaction or the interaction perspective talks about the interaction that takes place between the members of the society and the institutions that exist in the society. Different levels and different types of interaction that takes place. According to this, society is the product of the social interactions that take place between individuals. How individuals interact with each other, that gives different colors to the society. The focus is on people's behavior in face-to-face situations. When people are talking to each other, when they are communicating with each other, when they are connected with each other, this interaction takes place. And the impact of this interaction, the effect of this interaction, the nature of this interaction, this is what the perspective focuses on. Interaction refers to, as the name shows, interaction, connectivity, connectedness, communication, and whatever happens within this process of connectivity and communication between people, between individuals, between smaller groups within the society. Interaction or social interaction is a dynamic process. It is not stagnant or static. It keeps changing. It is flexible. And people also, we know that when we are in different situations, we have different types of interaction. The same person may be interacting differently in different situations, depending upon who are we interacting with. मिसाल के तौर पर अगर हम अपने पेरेंट्स के साथ इंटरेक्ट कर रहे हैं तो हमारी इंटरेक्शन किसी और तरह की होगी, लेकिन अब हम अगर अपने हम उम्र पीयर्स के साथ इंटरेक्ट कर रहे हैं तो उसकी नेचर और उसकी शायद इंटेंसिटी वो एक मुख्तलिफ तरह की होगी. People's behavior keeps changing, as we said, according to the people that we are interacting with and also according to the situation in which this interaction is taking place. According to Herbert Blumer, people do not respond directly to the world around them, but to the meaning it has for them. So what we are saying here is that we are not interacting with the world directly. Our interaction is with reference to the meaning that we give to the world. In other words, our perception of the world, our perception of the people around us, and our perception and meaning attached to the circumstances and situations will determine and will affect the interaction in which we are taking part. Perception of events, according to Blumer, and the setting in which things are happening are very important. And this is where a concept was given which was perhaps previously not talked about. This is social construction of reality. Social construction of reality refers to the shaping of perception of reality by the subjective meanings brought to any experience or social interaction. That is, we have a certain meaning attached to different situations, different events, different happenings. The same event can be very exciting for me, and it can be very depressing for another person. The same situation can be very exciting for one person, but very bad and very negative for another person. You might be very happy in going in one situation, but another friend of yours would hate to enter that room or that place. So this is the social construction of reality. What do things, what do situations, what do happenings mean to us? Similarly, when we talk about gender, we see that our attitude towards gender, male or female, would be dependent upon what meaning do we attach to being a man or a woman. What meaning do we attach to masculinity and femininity? The different categories in which people are divided in a society, that is also dependent upon social construction of reality. People may be treating people belonging to different professions accordingly, according to this. This is a very subjective feeling. People belonging to, for example, A woman nurse, female nurse may have a different status, but a male nurse may have a different status in our society. So, gender and gender roles can also be seen and analyzed from the same lens. According to this perspective, when we talk about gender, gender is not something which we were born with, which was automatically happening to a society or to people. It is, they call it doing gender. That is, gender is something that we do, that we plan, and that we have introduced to the society. Gender does not emerge as an individual attribute that people had and a characteristic that they were born with. It is something that is accomplished because of whatever was happening in the society. Therefore, gender is what we are doing. Gender is how we perceive gender, what meaning we attach to it, and how we deal with people belonging to different genders. Here, another relevant theory which you must be familiar with is the dramaturgy approach of Erving Goffman. Goffman introduced this approach while talking about social interaction. According to this approach, social interaction is similar to theatrical performance. Just like people perform their roles on the stage in a theater according to the written script of that play or theater performance, similarly, people in the society also play their roles according to the script that has been designed by the society. In this enactment, we use impression management. We create and we try to develop positive images and positive impressions about ourselves or other people's minds. Impression management helps people getting absorbed into other groups, helps people attain a certain status within his or her own group. We see that gender roles can be understood from the same approach, from the same perspective. Doing gender is also enactment. If somebody is born as a girl, she is performing the role that a girl is given in that society. And similarly, a child who is born as a male would be performing the role allocated for men in that society. This perspective, we see that many practical relevance approaches, but we see that there is another approach also, which is known as the feminist sociological perspective. Although we have seen that for research and for analysis of social phenomena, we have the relevance of the conflict perspective, the interaction perspective, and of course the functionalist perspective. But one of the modern perspectives is the feminist sociological perspective, which has the feminist orientation. We will talk about this when we are discussing the feminist movement and feminism. But for the time being, we must understand that this perspective is about empowerment, giving more power to women, understanding women's problems, and understanding of how different social classes are exploited by other classes, or different people are oppressed by other people, and which has most relevance in case of genders, how one gender may be oppressed by another gender.